One piece of information, one piece of news that has received very little attention in the media is the staggering number of Christians being killed worldwide for their faith. Take, for instance, Nigeria. Since the beginning of 2025, more than 7,000 Christians have been killed and 7,800 others abducted. Have you heard of these news lately? These figures come from the International Society of Civil Liberties and Rule of Law. According to another watchdog, the Open Doors World Watch list, Christians are also being slaughtered in Congo, in Burkina Faso, and across Central Asia. Globally, an estimated 380 million Christians who live under high level of persecution and discrimination. This is what they report. Considering all this, we cannot help but notice the silence. No large-scale diplomatic outcry, no coordination or coordinated international sanctions, no significant policy shifts addressing their crisis. While our hearts and prayers go out to these people, forgotten by much of the world but never forgotten by God, we, one more time, realize that when the issue turns to Israel, the world suddenly displays an almost obsessive fixation, an abnormal preoccupation that blinds many from seeing the deeper reality unfolding actually in the background. To the point that by now, the world's attitude towards Israel has shifted dramatically. But I would like to attract your attention to that one system which illustrates this change in a striking way: AI, artificial intelligence. In early July of this year, an incident occurred with Grok, the name of an AI platform. To the shock and surprise of its creators, it suddenly produced a series of openly anti-Semitic posts calling for the genocide of the Jews, praising Hitler, and even suggesting that a Holocaust-like response to the so-called anti-white hate would be actually effective. These outposts were quickly condemned and removed. But the question remains, what happened? What happened then? One cannot accuse AI of being anti-Semitic. It has no soul. It has no conscience, no personal opinion. All it does is gather vast amounts of data from the world, synthesize it, and give back what it already presents in society. As when we say that the truth comes out of the mouth of children. Just as a child repeats what he has heard at home, sometimes to the embarrassment of the parents, AI repeats what it has ingested from society's collective speech, writings, and data. So in this case, what AI did is mirror the thoughts and voices that circulates in our world. It tells us that anti-Semitism is not only growing, but it has reached a very high point in history. And it goes on and on. Every week, there's something new. For instance, just this past Wednesday in France, some 150 Jewish children were denied entry to a resort. These children, aged 8 to 16, had fully booked the place and had to take 3 buses to another location. While the manager was arrested and for refusal to provide services or perform a transaction on the basis of religious discrimination, this arrest will not stop the growth of this hatred. Furthermore, the day after, on Thursday, we read that 2 Israelis were attacked at the Netherlands park. There was a park over there. But see that before the attack, Dutch media outlet, Jonet, reported that pro-Palestinian activists had secretly recorded the Israelis and their image was shared online. The footage of the Israeli families reported appeared on the social media. It was actually very well organized. So the Israeli received treatment from the hospital for wounds sustained from the attack, which was carried out by actually multiple local residents. You see, these things, and now AI, that tells us that we have reached a new phase in the history, and tragically, it confirms how deeply anti-Semitism is embedded in the culture of our time. Once again, we see the truth of Paul's prophetic words in Romans 2:9. There will be tribulation and distress to every soul of man who does evil, to the Jew first, and then to the Gentiles. And this saying of Paul runs through the history and prophecy, by the way. And it is in this one powerful book, by the way, of the Bible we're starting to study today, the book of Joel, which describes so well for us how Israel and Jerusalem will become the center of the nations, as God tells us in Ezekiel 5:5. And just before the second coming of Yeshua, he's about to come very soon. And how this obsession on Israel will shape our world in the coming years, maybe in the coming month, and perhaps even days. It is my prayer that we'll all be blessed and encouraged and be led to act, to pray, right? As we see these things unfolding in front of us.